Warning: this video contains a lot of bleh. There are many ways you can learn about an animal in the field. You can monitor them from afar using binoculars to learn about their physical anatomy. You can trace their footsteps in the sand to picture their movements. And you can even listen to the sounds they make to learn how they communicate with one another. But there's also another method which will teach you all about what the animal likes to eat. But it's definitely not for the faint-hearted. It's vomit samples. Well, technically. In this episode of What Did They Eat?, we will be dissecting some pellets barfed up by the species of owl that was responsible for moon-blinking kidnapped chicks to create mind-controlled soldiers. The barn owl, otherwise known as the Tyto alba. For those who don't know, pellets, sometimes referred to as castings, are a mass of undigested material that birds have eaten and cannot digest, which they then regurgitate up. These barn owl pellets were found around the base of a large eucalyptus tree which houses a family of Tyto alba. Once harvested, the pellets were then watered down and plucked apart, and all the bones were pulled out. And this is what we found in the pellets of the barn owl. These bones are pelvic bones of mice that have been broken in half. In a living mouse, the pelvis would look like this, but upon death it is quite common for animal pelvic bones to break along the centre. This top row of pelvic bones are from female mice, while the bottom row are from males. You can tell them apart by observing the obturator foramen. The pelvic of female mice will have an elongated ovular obturator foramen, while the males are more round. Here is half of a mouse pelvis next to a rabbit's pelvis to really show how small mice bones are. Among the many pelvic bones, there were also many skull fragments. Majority were from mice, but that massive piece in the corner is from a rat cranium. These small pieces are called the tympanic bullus, and they enclose the middle ear cavity. Much like the pelvic bones, the mandibles in living species are joined, but upon death and decay, the mandibles usually split into two separate bones. These funny-shaped bones are ulnars, and they pair up with the radius. To me, an ulnar bone looks like a brachiosaurus with its mouth open. And these are the radius bones, which connect to the ulna like this. Plenty of small vertebrae were also found. I also managed to find a piece of rodent tail that was still intact. These bones that sort of look like a cooking whisk are the fibula and tibia. The larger one is the tibia and the smaller one is the fibula. To determine whether they are from the left or right leg can be a bit challenging, but it can be accomplished by observing the ridge that is found along the tibia. This ridge faces away from the body. Rodent femurs were also very abundant in these barn owl pellets. Femurs are one of the easiest leg bones to identify due to their hammer-like appearance. And these bones are humeruses. These tiny ones are metatarsals, and this lot of curved bones are ribs. Although the majority of what was found in these barn owl pellets were bones, I also found some things that were still alive. Insect larvae. These larvae were not eaten by the owls, but were rather eating what the owl had already eaten and buffed up. Along with these larvae, traces of fly pupae casings were also found. This fly pupa still needs to emerge, and one of the moth larvae has also pupated. When both of these pupae have emerged, we will then be able to correctly identify these insects that have been living in these Tyto alba pellets.
2 weeks later.
The moth pupa emerged this morning, and I was able to identify that it's a dead sheep moth. Why it has such a name I do not know, but I do know that this moth is a native and is only found in Australia and New Zealand. The fly pupae, on the other hand, still has not emerged, but I'll definitely update you all when it finally does. And that marks the end of this video. What species of fly do you reckon will emerge from this pupa? Comment your answers down in the comments.